Hey everybody, I hope you guys are all doing well and that you are taking care of yourselves this holiday season. I know that it can get very overwhelming, which is why I decided to take kind of like a mental health break away from the internet, away from the news, the politics, the celebrity stuff. I just decided to just shut down and step away from it for a bit, which I did. And I actually enjoyed it. Sometimes you have to do that. So I suggest that you guys do that too, especially with this 24-hour news cycle. Your brain will get so clogged and things will start running together. Just step away from it, right? It'll be there when you get back. And I suggest that you all do that sometimes. So I came back on the internet yesterday and I was catching up on all these different stories. And specifically, I wanted to talk a little bit about this story right here. I read this story that really touched me. It's a story of a woman named Diana Elliot, and she was actually arrested for child cruelty for abandoning her child. Now, you may hear that headline and just think to yourself or hear it and be like, whoa, wait, whoa, why would she even get to go home? She abandoned a child. How could she? And then when I first saw it, I thought to myself, well, if she left her kid at a hospital, which she did, I'll get into the story. She left her child at a hospital. And I thought at first, I'm like, well, okay, well, you know, you're allowed to do that. Safe haven laws allow you to leave your kid up to 30 days old at a hospital, at a fire station, at a police department, blah, blah, blah. And then I started reading into it a little deeper. And it, as the story is that actually she left her 14-year-old son at a hospital. Now, this 14-year-old son has Down syndrome. He is nonverbal. And when they found this young man, they said that he had appeared malnourished. And again, being nonverbal, they were not able, and he had no identification on him. They didn't know who he was or who he belonged to. They had to basically go through surveillance, and it took a few days, but they finally caught up with his mother. And when they finally caught up with Diana Elliot, she was arrested and charged with child cruelty, which is actually a felony, okay, in Georgia. Now, she had no prior arrest, okay. She told authorities that she became overwhelmed. She was overwhelmed. She had 3 other children beside the 14-year-old, who again has special needs. She was living in a hotel with her children and decided to take him to the hospital and leave him. Now, granted, when one of the nurses found him, he was outside of the hospital. And like I said, they said he appeared malnourished. But all in all, she did take the young man to the hospital. Okay. Now, judges rarely grant bond in these cases like that, but in this particular case, they did. And there's a few reasons. That just shows you that it's a few things here. It shows you how poverty is oftentimes criminalized. Like, you know, people that live in poverty, a lot of us live below the poverty line. It's oftentimes criminalized, right? Just because you don't have enough. Okay. So there's a lot of things going on here. She didn't have enough money. She certainly didn't have enough support that she decided that this was the best thing to do. She didn't have enough resources. Okay. And she left her child in a place where she probably thought would be best for him. When she showed up to her arraignment, she was overwhelmed by the amount of support that she received by people she didn't even know. There were mothers, they're called Black Mamas Bailout, that were there to pay any amount that the bond was going to be set at. Now, remember, I told you, usually a lot of judges don't necessarily grant bond, especially in certain like red states like this, where they would have seen this particular situation and they were like, no, okay, you're a bad mom. Nope, you're not. No. But this group of mothers who never met Diana Elliot came to support her and to be there for her. And also her attorney, who again, she never met, this attorney, Brian Jarrett, who came to represent her because he saw what this was. And he also has 3 adopted sons living with Down syndrome, that has Down syndrome. Okay. And he understood how overwhelmed it could be. And a lot of those mothers that came to support her have children with special needs. And they too understood what this mom was going through. That just imagine you as a parent with just having children with no special needs, how overwhelming that is, how we just feel like we have been through some kind of war zone at the end of the day. And you still have to get up, go to work and do it all over again the next day. Now, couple that with a child with special needs and tell me, can I judge this woman? All right. Now, I know there's some people that's going to still see this story and say, you know what? No, at the end of the day, she still did the wrong thing. She shouldn't have left her son. Okay. He was 14 years. I've seen them all. I've seen all the comments. Well, he's 14 years old. You did it this long. Again, this woman was living outside of a hotel. Who knows? I didn't read too much about her situation prior to that. What led her to living in a hotel with her children. But she got overwhelmed. Okay. She got overwhelmed and she decided that what the best thing for this kid to do was to leave him in a place where he would be safe. Okay. Should she have did what some other parents do, which I've seen horror stories, kill their kids? Okay. Because they can't, they're too overwhelmed to deal with their health issues. So they kill them. It's just amazing to me of how people look at this situation very differently. And you're entitled to your opinion in this. But at the end of the day, I hold no judgment for this woman right here. Because I cannot imagine what it must be like to try to raise a child with Down syndrome, but also a child that's nonverbal, because that's not always the case with children with Down syndrome. I was a teacher, so I've met many kids with Down syndrome, and I've never met one that wasn't verbal. But in her case, this is a kid that wasn't even able to communicate with her, and who knows what support she did not have, that she had to end up in a situation that she didn't have anybody to go and stay with her kids. Now, as it goes, even though she's out and she was released, the state has her kids. DCFS is now, they have all 4 children, and she will have to fight to get them back, which I think is fair. Despite it all, I do think that's fair. However, I don't think it would have helped anybody to put her in jail, which I'm glad it didn't turn out that way, because what good does it, how good does it help any of those kids, or what good does it do to have a mother in jail and they still don't have their mother? Now, hopefully, now that there's been attention brought to this and these women were there to support her, now this woman can finally start getting the resources and support that she needs to raise her kids, to regain custody of her kids, to get her kids back. And I think that this is a good thing. All right. It sounds like it's going to be a happy ending, right? People are going to step in now and help this woman and get the support that she needs to raise her son. I don't believe that she doesn't love her son. I think she loved him enough to do what she thought was best. All right. This is one of those situations where people, like I said, it's so funny, and I hate to bring up like the whole abortion thing and pro-life and all this stuff, but I see people protesting all the time by my house, because I have a Planned Parenthood by my house, and they're out there with the little posters and everything like that. And I think that's great and fine. You are entitled to believe that. But when the baby gets here, how do you support these people? How do you support the mother who decided to carry this baby to term? Now, you're just going to leave them now and say, well, you had the baby on your own now. You shouldn't have got out there and had these kids, this, and this, and this, but you want them to carry the kids. So I'm saying this is a woman who 14 years have been taking care of this young man, and she was depleted and she was overwhelmed. And we at least should have at least a little sense of humanity for a person or people that raise children with special needs. I commend people who raise kids with special needs, because like I said, I think it's hard enough to just raise kids and with no extra circumstances going on. So this woman did the best that she could, and she thought she was doing the right thing by leaving him at the hospital. Maybe she should have done it a little differently, okay? Not leaving him outside the hospital, but who am I to judge her? And I'm not judging her on this. I won't judge her on that, because I don't know. I ain't never been in that situation. But I just want to share this with you guys. Hopefully we'll learn how to stop criminalizing poor people and give them the resources and the support that they need in situations like this. So I just want to share that with you guys today. And I'm going to leave you guys with that. And I will see you guys on the next video. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you.